Welcome, everyone, to Healing Journey 101 for healthcare professionals, and thank you for being here today. This seminar is designed for health professionals who want to better understand Wellspring's Healing Journey program and how it supports people living with cancer. You will learn about the program's evidence informed approach, core components, and the role it plays alongside clinical care. This seminar will be led by Dr. Claire Edmonds, who holds a PhD specializing in psycho-oncology from York University. She worked for over 20 years at Princess Margaret Cancer Center as a clinical researcher in the Healing Journey program. As a registered psychotherapist, she now works at a variety of community cancer organizations, including Wellspring and the Canadian Cancer Society, where she develops programs and trains professionals. Thank you so much for being here, Claire.
It's my delight to be here. I'm really pleased that people are interested in learning about a program that is very close to my heart. As Vanitha said, I earned my PhD at the Princess Margaret Cancer Center with Dr. Alistair Cunningham. And together with the team, we developed and evaluated the Healing Journey program for 25 years, I think, roughly. And until I adapted it and brought it over to Wellspring in about 2003, which was a very natural fit for us. We really found a home there, and I think more people were able to access us. But today, I also speak to you as somebody who both has experience in psycho-oncology, but I've been on the other side of the curtain, so to speak. That is, I've had cancer myself, both breast cancer in 2015 and an ocular melanoma in 2017. And may I say that I thought I knew a lot about cancer and the experience of having cancer after 30 years, but in actual fact, I had much, much more to learn. And I think that that knowledge has been folded into the Healing Journey program with our refresh that I'll talk a little bit about more. So I have a deep understanding of both the challenges that cancer poses to patients as well as caregivers, and a deep understanding and appreciation of what can help. So welcome today. I'm so glad you're joining us. Just waiting for the slide to come. I'd like to start with considering what is healing. Cancer is an experience that profoundly affects our understanding of ourselves, our understanding of our relationship to our body, and most profoundly, it alters our relationship to the future. I appreciate this definition of healing because I think that it reflects both the profundity of the cancer experience as well as its impact on physical and emotional and mental health. So, what is healing? It is to make whole. It's a natural process by which the body repairs itself. But it's more than that. It's about the body, but the heart, the mind, and the spirit as well. Even in all the context of the changes that cancer brings, healing is possible. It is more than an absence of illness. And so, what is a journey? Well, a journey is to travel from one place to another, and it evokes change. It is effortful, it is active. It's not a holiday. The journey is different. We learn along the path, and it is really, truly an adventure of self-discovery. And when we put those two things together, we find the healing journey is a process of change. It's a path that we choose. It leads us beyond dis-ease towards a state of harmony and balance, a sense of well-being and peace. And in practical terms, the healing journey is a stepwise, progressive program of support and skills training to cope with the challenges of cancer. So the healing journey takes place with 5 levels. Each level builds on a previous level. The skills are augmented and reinforced and developed further. Level 1 is coping with cancer stress. It's 2 hours a week for 4 weeks. I want to add here that the program is offered both in person at the centers at Wellspring, the different Wellspring centers, as well as online. That's really important because when I lead the program, I often do it online, and people who are very ill join the program. They may not feel well enough to come into a center, but they are able to sit in bed and practice relaxation with us or receive mutual support. So, in level one, we're really getting down to basics of coping with the stress that cancer produces. We teach what the stress response is, and we discuss the relaxation response and offer strategies for developing it. Of course, we use progressive relaxation. And another really important factor is healthy thought management, because much of the distress that we experience with cancer are the thoughts that we have about cancer. We also use guided imagery for healing, helping people imagine in their minds what's happening as their bodies are resilient and helping themselves heal. And we talk a lot about goal setting. Goal setting is important, not just because it's motivating, but also because it reminds us that we are more than cancer. There is more to us than the diagnosis and treatment. I want to add that all our programs are led by professionals, trained professionals skilled in psycho-oncology. This is important because within a group context, we want to have a leader who can manage the didactic end of it, the teaching end of it, but also can manage the group end of it, the processing, so that people can feel heard and understood while not expounding upon distressing features that can create a lot of anxiety in other people, other members of the group. So it's always a balance, and our leaders are skilled and trained in order to manage that. We also have in many programs peer support volunteers, trained peer support volunteers who are there to support and offer uh, suggestions for other programs. When we're really lucky, we sometimes get a volunteer who's a peer support volunteer who's taken the healing journey, who joins us in the program. And that really adds another dimension. They bring this lovely sense of the beginner's mind and show what's possible and talk about their own experiences to help others. So level two is 8 weeks, and it's 2 hours a week again. And what we're doing is we're developing and expanding the things that we've learned at level one. Journaling and thought watching become very important, particularly in healthy thought management. Journaling and thought watching go together like bread and butter, and we really encourage people to journal their thoughts and their feelings as we go through the program. We introduce the idea of meditation, and of course, we know there are many ways to meditate. We offer several strategies, and we also encourage people to take other programs within the Wellspring umbrella that support meditative practice. More imagery for healing. We do an interesting exercise where we encourage people to connect with a sense of inner wisdom, helping them understand what it is that they need to help themselves. We work on letting go of resentments. That can be important because it takes a lot of energy to feel frustrated and angry with other people. And we have strategies that can help people smooth the path a little in their relationships and even with their healthcare professionals. Imagining a perfect week. Well, this again is important in understanding that we are more than the diagnosis. And one of the thrusts, I think, of both learning to manage cancer and within the healing journey is this sense of knowing what I know now about life, having had or living with cancer. How is it that I choose to live it? How do I choose to live my life? And so, imagining a perfect week is an introduction to that idea. And finally, we end on spirituality, taking some time to discuss what spirituality means for each individual, what spirituality can offer, how it feels, and we do some work in contrasting it and comparing it to religion. Not that they're mutually exclusive, they're not, but for some people, it's easier to access feelings of peace through non-religious strategies, and other people will find it within the religious community that they're a part of. From level 2, of course, we move along to level 3. And this is where initially anyway, spirituality begins to take a larger part of larger on the stage. Again, we're working with understanding what spirituality is compared to religion. One way of understanding it is it's a portal to peace and calm and a sense that all shall be well. We again look at meditation, working with strategies. It's not an easy skill to develop, and we're there to support people in any way that they need to find a way that feels right for them for calming the heart and soothing the mind. We talk about the difference between a reaction and a response, helping people find strategies to respond to the challenges around them rather than dropping into a reactive place. We understand the human being as an iceberg, that at the surface we see behavior, but if we can look beneath the surface of that iceberg, we begin to understand where our behavior, as well as the behavior of others, comes from. Often feelings of fear and anxiety produce anger and frustration on the surface. Understanding that can give us tools for healthy thought management and for our relationships. We work on the idea of acceptance, not having to fight and struggle to change things around us, but to work with that. We work with the idea that we want to be connected with others rather than separating by believing ourselves to be special or different. And finally, looking at strategies for realigning priorities. Again, that comes down to that question of knowing what I know now, how is it that I choose to live my life? Well, we've done a lot through levels 1, 2, and 3. It's time to take a breather. And level 4 offers us that. Level 4 is a chance to consolidate the skills from the previous 3 levels. We take the strategies and we recategorize them. We shake them up and we put them under 3 different headings: authenticity, autonomy, and acceptance. Many groups have come together from levels 1 through 2 through 3, and when they arrive in 4, they really know each other quite well. And so the discussions become deeper. There's a great deep sense of safety. And when it comes to things like authenticity and autonomy and acceptance, we ask them to define that for themselves. What would it mean to you? What would it look like to foster authenticity in your life? What does autonomy mean to you now? What are the things that are difficult to accept? Level 5 has a different tone. It goes for 10 weeks for the 10 chapters in the book, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. Again, people have been together for a long time, and the trust and the conversations in the group are often profound and powerful. It's a 2-hour discussion and support group exploring the concepts of spirituality as offered by Eckhart Tolle. Not an easy book to get through, but the people in our groups have already got models and strategies to help them understand what Tolle is offering. Healthy thought management, really fundamental. Working on relationships, practices for instilling peace, and finally, the meaning of life. As I said at the very beginning, one of the things that cancer challenges us with is it alters our relationship to the future. It alters our relationship to life. And so how do we choose? How do we want to live that life? And level 5 is full of those kinds of conversations that are profound and meaningful. So how is the healing journey going to help you in your clinical interactions with a given patient or caregiver? And I really want to also mention that caregivers can be a part of this program. The best scenario is when the caregiver and the patient join together at level 1 and move through the levels together. Sometimes that's not working out for the family, and so just the caregiver comes, and that's fine too. They are welcome, and in a bit I'll show how it can benefit caregivers as much as patients. So if we think of the body, what are the challenges that patients experience, and dare I say, caregivers as well? insomnia, tension, changes in appetite, pain. That's just the beginning, isn't it? What strategies do we offer to help people manage those challenges? Progressive relaxation is a very powerful touchstone for our members in the healing journey. Guided imagery augments that, as does meditation. We have an opportunity to talk about communication with each other and communication with the healthcare team. There's a lot of mutual problem solving, strategizing, and learning how to communicate and ask questions. Patients feel more efficacious in the clinical context, and that's one of the results we show in our research. And again, always, mutual support makes a difference in not feeling so alone with the challenges at the body level. The emotional level, mental health, really important. We know the stress that people coping with cancer are experiencing, as well as their caregivers. Anxiety, panic, depression, confusion, anger, and that horrible feeling of being out of control. That sense of control is one of the first things that goes out the window when somebody is coping with cancer. So, what strategies do we bring to bear to answer or to meet those challenges? Healthy thought management, again, is foundational. Relaxation as a progressive relaxation, journaling, meditation, goal setting, mutual support, normalizing the experience to some degree. I remember very clearly myself thinking, I'm losing my mind with all of these feelings. I wasn't losing my mind, I was processing. And that's one of the things that the healing journey supports in our members. The social level. For many adults, cancer takes them out of their work environment and puts them in a new world, and that is the one of the hospital, being at home, being ill. And they're not used to it. This is something that is profound, it's a profound experience, and it's a lonely experience. Isolation is a big part of that. Having a routine is a big part of that, losing that routine. So at the social level, there can be communication problems because how do I even begin to explain how it's going for me? People say, hey, how are you? Do you really? Or you just ask it. Because if you want to know, it's a big answer. I may not even know myself. So communication challenges are important, and they may even, you will see them flowing over into your clinical time with a patient. Difficulty in expressing what's happening to themselves, difficulty expressing their needs, uh, anxiety about expressing questions, asking questions. So that's one of the things that we address. Isolation, irritability, always a charming feature of stress, impatience, that feeling of disconnection, and that profound sense of being alone with it all. And in the healing journey, again, mutual support is the platform upon which we build. And that support for caregivers is particularly important because caregivers are isolated. They don't want to tell the patient how they're feeling. They're worried about the patient, and they're often too busy to find outlets and friends who can really understand. Within our groups, within Wellspring, there are a lot of people who can listen and who understand. Letting go of resentments can be really important. Carrying resentments into relationships just inhibits that sense of connection and communication. Feeling less alone and, again, normalizing the experiences. We keep touching on the spiritual. We keep coming back to that. It's not something that may come up overtly in your clinical interactions, but I bet you it's one of the underpinnings of some of the questions that emerge. Questions about the meaning of life and the meaning of suffering. What's it all about? Why me? And that sense of spiritual disconnection and reconnection. How do I find peace in the middle of this? Meditation is a strategy, knowing that there are many forms of meditation. We're not talking about just one way. And also the exploration of spirituality in that supportive, non-religious context. Basically, one of the questions we ask is what feeds your spirit? We ask what gives you peace. And in the group context, ideas can emerge that can be really helpful and affirming. So one of our biggest mandate at the Healing Journey program when we were at the Princess Margaret Hospital was research. We were clinical researchers, and our job was to research what this intervention offered people. It was at a time when interventions were all very new, and we wanted to understand how they helped people and who they helped. And so what did we find? What we found was a broad range of improvements in mood and quality of life in patients that were younger, patients that were older, patients who were living with metastatic illness, and patients who were primary, people who've been living with cancer for a while, and people who are very new. We also saw improvements in the mood of caregivers. We really want to hold on to that for a minute, because caregivers are often unseen and unheard. An increase in self-efficacy within the medical context, ability to manage appointments more easily, ability to ask questions, and ability to see the team of people who support them, not just the individual. I think it's a really important finding that we see this sense of confidence in their ability to go into an appointment and manage themselves. Various formats of the program were equally effective. Intensive weekend program was just as effective as a weekly program. And delightfully, the psychospiritual intervention also improved quality of life. All of these are published studies in peer-reviewed journals. Now, uh, Wellspring researches all of its programs. Any program that it offers, it's evaluated. So we started at Wellspring in 2003, and since 2005 to 2025, a total of 4,685 members have taken the Healing Journey program. I took my breath away when I saw that number at first. I was wondering if it was a typo, but no, I know Wellspring's very careful about its numbers. We've also had program refreshes where we've updated the research and the concepts and imagery to adapt to current times. And we also have a large training program to train other professionals to join the team of Healing Journey leaders. So these results are from a subsection in the early days of the Healing Journey program being at Wellspring. Between 2005 and 2007, a total of 675 participants took the program. Evaluations were given to everybody, and we had an 87% response rate, which is really high. It was 590 subjects, members. And so this is what they reported. 97% of them reported a reduction in physical tension. 75% reported decreased physical discomfort. 95% felt an improvement in dealing with negative thoughts. There's that healthy thought management coming through, and the relaxation and guided imagery. Feeling more in control, 93%. Increased feelings of calmness, 94%. 94% developed skills to cope with cancer, and 95% felt that the program had had a positive influence on daily life. Now, another part of our work at Princess Margaret Hospital was that we were interested also in pushing the boundaries and exploring more contentious questions in research. And one of the questions that was certainly coming up in the 80s and 90s was longevity. Do interventions help people live longer? We conducted a randomized clinical trial of patients with metastatic breast cancer, and we found no survival advantage in that group. But then we did a small trial of advanced cancer patients showing a survival effect, and it was a longitudinal prospective design, quite a different and unique way of approaching it. An interesting result, but that is not the basis of the program. The basis of the program is how to live well with cancer, how to improve quality of life, and how to feel more in control. So what am I hoping that we can take away from today? Well, that the quality of life improvements are broad and widely applicable. It helps both patients and caregivers, those unseen, unsung heroes in the background. And the program can be an entry point into all sorts of self-help and support programs at Wellspring. It's really a huge roster of programs, I believe about 40, maybe even more. And that when people enter the healing journey, they find that the doors open to other ways of supporting themselves. And we also know that patients are more likely, more inclined to come to a program when it is suggested to them by their healthcare providers. I'm hoping that it's mutually beneficial, that by suggesting or offering this possibility of the healing journey, um, you as practitioners can reduce the the demands and the needs of your patients because you know they're being met elsewhere, and that your patients feel more in control and better able to manage their appointments. So I've always enjoyed being a part of the healing journey. It's really become a deep part of my life. It has helped me cope with cancer personally. I would have been lost without it. And I'm hoping that you've got questions and that we've got some time in order to explore that. So thank you so much for being here today. I hope it's been helpful.